Tell the believing men to cover their gaze, to guard part of their gaze, meaning not to use their gaze too much. Then he says, وَقُلْ لِلْمُؤْمِنَاتِ يَغْضُضْنَ مِنْ أَبْصَارِهِنْ. And then say also to the women, believing women, to guard part of their gaze. وَيَحْفَظْنَ فُرُوجَهُنْ. And to guard their chastity. وَلَا يُدْنِينَ زِينَتَهُنَّ إِلَّا لِبُعُولَتِهِنْ. And not to reveal their adornments and their beauty except to their husbands, or to those whom they cannot marry, like her father, her brother, and other women. That's okay, in order to protect her own chastity. But Allah addresses the man first. So hijab actually applies to the man before the woman. Because hijab is not about a scarf on the head, habibi. Hijab doesn't mean scarf. A lot of people who say hijab, oh, I'm going to wear the scarf soon. Scarf is not hijab, habibi. Scarf is just covering the hair, not revealing the body and covering the hair. You see them walking out with tight clothing, mashallah, and then she's got a little scarf on her head, mashallah. They calls it hijab. This is not hijab. Hijab is protection and veil. And for the man there is a protection and veil. The veil is their behavior. And the man also has a modest dress code as well. But hijab not only is in clothing but also in behavior. In fact, there is a greater emphasis on hijab in the behavior and attitude than there is on clothing in the Quran and in the Sunnah, ya ikhwan. So much about talking about the voice, about the socializing, how far you can go, about the manner that you walk, the way that you seclude yourself, the way you gaze at people, the way you present yourself. All of this is part of hijab, and clothing is only one little portion of it all. So my dear brothers and sisters, don't fool yourselves. Hijab to both areas. And that way you will guard yourself, guard your mothers, guard your sisters, guard your daughters, guard your wives, and guard yourselves. I know of some sisters who got fooled by the shaitan. They saw their brothers going out and doing what they want to do. And then what happens to the girl? As she grew up with her foolish, weak brain, and obviously with parents who don't know how to raise their children, she began to want to do what her brothers do. So she began to meet some girls who were corrupt, and she'd wait for the night. Her parents would think she's asleep and go out of her window with her friends, until finally she was raped. And this is one incident out of many. But the other incidents are, because you see, she goes out, someone spikes her drink, and what happens to her? And some of them, they are convinced that this is what they should do. These girls think that this is what they should do. Allahu Akbar. They become slaves to society. Slaves. And they call hijab slavery? This is an independent woman who doesn't want all of that. She has guarded herself from all of this. Whereas the other ones, boys and girls, they have made themselves slaves to their lust, temptations, and the society. So I challenge you to get married and become a man. I challenge you. Yusuf alayhi salam was among those who beat his lust and desires. You know what she said? Well, they chased to the door, they raced each other to the door, she ripped his shirt, and subhanallah, the husband of the woman, of Zulaykha, he happened to just suddenly enter into the house. He opened the door. وَأَلْفَيَا سَيِّدَهَا لَدَى الْبَابِ. Allah says, and they found her Sayyid, her master, again not calling him husband, she found her master at the door. Now he saw this, running, tearing off clothing. In that situation, he knew something was wrong.